Hi, this is Bryce, back with an episode about sensory sensitivity, as promised. So, because there's a lot of information and it is a abstract idea, I did break it down into two parts. Today I'll cover lights, sound, and smell and how it affects you and ways to avoid it. So, in short, an intro, right? The sensitivity was brought on by the craniotomy, by the brain surgery. It was not because of the tumor. Right, so this is something to look forward to, especially in the very beginning of like recovery from surgery, especially in the hospital where things can be a little harsh. What it feels like, right? So sensitivity overload, what is that? Senses get overloaded. So the best way I can describe it is like when you take a really hard test, like an exam, or you do something very tedious and monotonous for hours and you just feel like fried. You can't concentrate on anything, you don't really know what you're saying or doing, you're just fried, right? That is brought on a lot more readily and as a case or solution, or not a solution, sorry, a issue that's brought on by the sensitivity, right? So the first one, right? So lights. Brightness actually is the big one, right? Is the one that affects the most. The reason why is, I don't really know the reason why. The issue with it is it throws you off. You can't concentrate, and all you like become aware of is how bright, the surrounding light is around you, right? It's very harsh. The thing to avoid, right, is walking at night, driving at night. That's a huge one. And it's almost like the contrasting lights, right? The very bright stoplight versus like the dark street, right, becomes an issue, and it's harder to concentrate on the actual act of driving, which can be a hazard, right? So you just want to avoid driving at night. This does get better with time. I still, at the 5-month mark, I still have trouble at driving at night. But it has gotten better over time. The thing to note about this is like when it was at its worst was the days after recovery, right? The days of in the hospital. I actually asked for the nurses to turn the lights off all the time because the bright fluorescent light would essentially blind me, and I couldn't have my eyes open. So I was very sensitive to the light. All right, the next thing, sound. Right, this is very similar to light. Any harsh, competing noises, right, does the same sensation of like being fried, right, being overloaded. So, with that, you want to avoid competing noises like, rough music, somebody yelling at you from across the room because they can't, talk to you, or just maybe they're just excited that you're okay, right? That can be very draining on an individual with the sensitivity, and it can be very harsh. The thing that actually helped when I was in the ICU was listening to soothing noise, like just say a podcast. The simple act of having a steady monologue background noise that didn't have a fluctuation in sound actually helped me focus, right? Even if it was just like trying to eat, it would help me focus. Now the last topic, right, the third topic is like smell, right? So this one, unlike the other two, was not as bad for me in the beginning or even now, but it still has some effect. The weird thing of note, and this might just be me as an individual, I have no idea if this is gonna come from somebody else's experience or if this is going to happen to you, but my smell felt like it got stronger after the surgery. It was weird. I could tell what my wife had for dinner like a day after. So that being said, the sensitive part is any powerful smells, something like ammonia that they clean the hospital floors with, that would throw me through a loop. And all I could smell and taste was ammonia, right? So it is very disorienting and can be a problem. The only thing is, like the other two, you do want to avoid like something like that. Maybe not clean your house or your apartment, the week after you get done with brain surgery. So until next time, I'll see you. I'll come back with part 2 about sensitivity. It's so hard to say. But, until then, I'll see you. Good luck. If you like this video, just click here and subscribe.